Welcome back to the second segment of the episode where we're going to be discussing the government's keenness on enhancing higher education here in Egypt, whether through public universities or private institutions. This is the plan for the next few years. Right now we're joined by Mariam, Wahid, an assistant professor of political science at Cairo University. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Can you tell us about the state's plans when it comes to trying to enhance the public sector of higher education? Do you see that there are significant steps being taken right now, or is it?
Yes, sure. There are huge steps since 2013 to promote higher education because it's a main pillar and driver for sustainable development in Egypt. Yeah. So of course, everyone is seeing the huge projects developed everywhere in terms of infrastructure, but also human development is something that the government insists on promoting. And to promote human development, higher education is very important and crucial.
Yes.
That's why we've seen for the past few years there's a lot of strategies developed through Egypt's Vision 2030 to promote higher education, and that's aligned with all countries' developments all over the world towards promoting higher education, either in European states or in the US or all over the world in Asia.
Yes. We're seeing right now progress when it comes to sort of cooperation with, like you're saying, European universities, but in the private sector, is this also going to be in the public sector of higher education? Are we going to see cooperation, for instance, with Norwegian institutions or English institutions? Is this something that's happening?
Yeah, actually it started at public universities. So, so public universities are the main universities in Egypt, and later on private universities were opened.
Yes.
So it's mainly partnerships with European universities and international universities all over the world is something really important for public universities.
Yeah.
And recently, even at my faculty, the Faculty of Economics and Political Science, Cairo University, we have a lot of partnerships with French universities like Sciences Po, Sorbonne, also University of Hamburg. Also, we have a master's program of law in economics. So it's something already there. And recently also there are more and different public universities, new schools have been opened in artificial intelligence, robotics, and that's the future, as President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi was saying when he was at Kafr Sheikh University this week. So he mentioned that the future is for digitalization and informatics and artificial intelligence. So there are more partnerships with international universities focused on these schools or these fields, but also the fields like political science, economics, and other fields.
Which brings me to the next idea. I mean, you were saying that, you know, technology and anything to do with, you know, AI or IT or whatever is an important and integral part of what is to come in the future. I can understand there's some sort of cooperation with the European or American universities in terms of education styles, but is there also plans to upgrade, for instance, labs, to upgrade research centers within the public university sectors as well?
Yes, that's happening and taking place, especially after COVID-19. We witnessed the hybrid learning or combination between in-person learning and virtual learning or e-learning. So we're adopting quite the same methods adopted all over the world, using the same programs like Blackboard, Moodle, all of those programs to give interactive classes online. Also, programs like changing the rooms to smart classrooms, also adopting not only changing the infrastructure or changing logistics, but also changing the ways of teaching to have it more of personalized teaching, interactive teaching, listening more to the students. It's not all the time that the professor is giving the information. It's developing the critical skills of the individuals, because education is partially to give information and also to promote skills. So this is done quite the same as a lot of big universities all over the world.
In the last decade or so, or even longer than that actually, there have been a lot of students that have opted to study abroad. But with these cooperation and partnerships with different universities, do you think that this is going to keep the Egyptian student here in Egypt?
Yeah, I guess that a lot of students, even besides education, because there are very good programs in public universities and in private universities and in the new non-profit, non-governmental universities as Ahliya universities. So these are developing programs even to meet or to match market needs. And that was the real issue that made a lot of Egyptians travel abroad to work and to get higher degrees, to also have better job opportunities, not only for learning more, but because of the new investments in the state and new projects and new job opportunities. So more Egyptians are encouraged to stay here and to learn the new skills for the job opportunities offered now in Egypt.
So you think there is some sort of bridge between the gap when it comes to what the market needs and what universities are offering right now?
Yes, that's what I meant, that the new programs like artificial intelligence are offered for, there are a lot of new projects like the new administrative capital project and the smart cities, and that's the future of the world. So those programs like biotechnology and artificial intelligence are offered, and people, more students want to learn this because they see the world and they see this future and they think of the job market also.
What about the mindset of the students themselves? I mean, we always hear about students wanting to go to certain, specializations, like you have to be a doctor, you have to be an engineer. Is this something that we're trying to change right now?
Yes, it's
because the market is absolutely flooded with doctors and engineers. There's so much of them.
Yeah, and even thinking of new courses or new subjects and developing skills not only offered by the universities. So even taking more diplomas, taking courses online, that would be really helpful for students. And whenever they do this when they're younger, that will make them better in the market.
Yes. What about non-private, non-profit rather, universities, private universities? How do they serve higher education here in Egypt?
Yeah, it's the same thing, that they are offering new courses for the job market. They're also the philosophy behind those universities is that the profit they get, they pay for developing and modernizing classrooms, modernizing courses and curricula, which is something we work at Cairo University all the time. Also, that we need all the time developing curricula along international universities, and that's why professors all the time attend international conferences, publish at different journals, and this is something that the Ministry of Higher Education and Scientific Research is encouraging professors to publish more, because this makes them better professors and also
better the ranking of university.
Yes. And specifically about Ahliya universities or non-profit or non-governmental universities, there are several ones inaugurated recently in Galela and Mansoura and also in Alamein. So it's in different regions that are not flooded with, it's not in the capital, so there are not a lot of universities in these places, but it's that they develop accommodation and also classrooms, and also modernize the labs, and there's also new media schools at those universities. So it's a new space, a new place for developing new courses that are not currently offered at all public universities.
What about when it comes, I mean, I understand that there is obviously change because of COVID when it comes to how do we use technology and how we learn now through, you know, online learning and all of that. But is there some sort of change within the curricula itself or the way it's taught in recent years when it comes to public service, public universities?
Yes, of course. That it's not maybe the idea that COVID not only changed how students learn through online instead of in person and being on campus all the time. So this might have encouraged students to search more for videos or other multimedia to help them learn in different ways. Also changes in for political science, for example. The world changes a lot. Like current events change, and as a result of COVID-19, we've witnessed new policies adopted all over the world. So that's was something that changed a little bit some of even the topics that we teach students.
So what do you think are the challenges that still face the higher education institution in Egypt?
Yeah, related to the idea of digitalization is cybersecurity, which is something really vital, is how to protect like accounts of students, professors, and so that's something that the state is working on, cybersecurity also. And other challenges is, for example, professors who are not trained on using the new platforms. So giving training programs to professors is something that the state has worked on in the past 2 years. Also encouraging students to study and learn through a different platform and through a different way was something really challenging also. And it took a lot of, because we're as an assistant professor, I know that it was a lot of time consuming. So you because it's a different technique, it's a hybrid learning, so you do both. Sometimes you do in-person classes, sometimes you do online, and also students send a lot of emails. And
but students are more tech savvy than, you know, because they're young and they're more interested in technology than the older generation. So was it easy to teach them these different platforms or teach them how to use it?
Yes, it was easy. So it's they're quite.
They got it quickly.
Yeah, they're quite intelligent. They understand it. They could understand it really quickly, and also they even could take electronic exams, everything online, and it was really easy. And all the attempts in the past years were successful.
So what about when it comes to innovation and creativity? I mean, the Minister of Higher Education spoke about this and how this is something that is important. How can this be achieved? How can we encourage students to be more innovative and more creative when it comes to their work?
Creativity emanates from different things. So from the perspective of informatics and robotics and artificial intelligence, that's part of creativity and technological advancement. So students are encouraged to learn this because also they feel that it's really would help them in the job market. And also what is stressed upon also is creativity in the arts. So how recently the Prime Minister inaugurated a new building in the Higher Cinema Institute. So to encourage also students to make their own films and to see it, to match the world internationally, the same techniques. And it's not in a private university, it's in a public university, in the Academy of Arts. So the state is working on developing public universities as well as leaving space for private universities and investors who want to work in higher education and have a vision to higher education promotion.
Do you think that encouraging innovation or creativity can also be achieved through, for instance, contests or programs like, the Model United Nations and all of that? Is this something that helps students as well try to, for instance, like fixing a problem, political problem, and the Model United Nation is a very interesting way to make creativity.
Yes, of course. There's the models specifically. There were a lot held at the Faculty of Economics and Political Science, and recently there was a model for combating corruption.
Yes.
So these models help students to develop their policy recommendations, to think how to solve the problems, because they are learning not just for their own benefit or their family benefit, it's for their country and to solve the problems, and also being on the ground. So it's not only like learning things on the book, but try to think of also the future and how to solve problems in the ground. So models and contests, and students are encouraged to attend those models and also to attend international competitions. We saw actually Egyptian geniuses in different fields getting a lot of prizes internationally.
What about research-based learning? Is this something that is encouraged instead of just memorizing certain words or being spoon-fed this information? Do you think that allowing students to go on the internet or seeking out the library to learn more about something is something that's encouraged right now?
Yes, we do this at the faculty all the time. That we are. The research-based learning is vital. Students are encouraged to do their own research, develop their research question and their methodology, think of the theories and how to apply them in practice to solve problems, giving policy recommendations, or even to understand the world in front of them, developing their own lens. And also students are encouraged to apply their researches. So it's not only like it's something, so how you apply your research, how you do sometimes we do empirical research, so students do surveys and questionnaires either online or on the ground.
Yes. What about when it comes to the regular education, not speaking about higher education, when it comes to school students, is this essential in how they shape these young minds and how they're going to end up being in universities and colleges and institutions? Is this something important?
Yes, because all the time we think of when we teach students in the first year, we think of they are product of the primary education and secondary education. So it's a bit harder to change the mind in
as they get older.
As they get older. So in the first years, even in a lot of countries, like in Finland, for example, they insist that teachers of the first year of school have a master's degree. So it's very vital, because specifically in students of the first year and second year, even at college, I remember a professor of mine was telling me that the first year and second year of college are really important. So that's why it's better that there are more professors teaching than for example, assistant professor. It's better that the best
it depends on the field. For instance, in the field of media, it's better to have someone who practices it because it's it's an actual job where you have to do something, and it's not like theoretical, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And it's the same, for instance, with other things like engineering. Was this something that is more important? You think like practical life skills is more important than being a PhD? I mean, obviously that's important in everything, but learning how to do the job, for instance, 20 years on, practical experience is something that's more important for students?
Yes, it enhances the skills of the professor. It makes him well aware of all the problems. So
it prepares him for the job market, doesn't it?
Yes, it's very helpful because students feel that the professor teach them in a vivid way, in a lively way. Even if when you teach, you need to give examples while you're teaching. If you're just reading books, you won't have the examples. So in everyday life, when you see and work in the field, of course, that makes you a better professor.
What about my last question for you? How do you see the higher education's future within, let's say, the next 5 years or so?
I see it as really promising.
Yes.
Because new schools have been developed, new programs. There's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is keen on developing higher education, and that science is really important for development. Also, there's a big change in introducing new programs, developing the infrastructures as well, the logistics, as well as improving the skills of professors. That would really make it much better.
Hopefully a better future.
Yeah, inshallah.
Mariam Wahid, an assistant professor of political science at Cairo University, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And this brings us to the end of this episode of Cairo Local Time, but stay tuned for more updates on Nile TV.